Hello YouTube, I promised you a video on movies, and so here we go. First off though, the Champions League match just happened a few days ago and I'm wearing my Chelsea jersey. Fortunately they lost to Manchester United in extra penalties, despite the efforts of Cristiano Ronaldo to screw over his own team. Well, it was a good effort by the boys in blue, but sometimes it just doesn't go their way. That's right. Oh, and I also heard that Cristiano Ronaldo pledges to stop his bitching and crying and whining. So next season he's going to be wearing a pacifier for the rest of the matches. Anywho, now for the movies. Uh, well, most movies seem to be remakes and sequels nowadays, so I guess I'll just mention those. Um, a lot of remakes, pretty much every remake is entirely unnecessary. It was done right the first time, why would you do it again? And if it wasn't done the first time, why would you even go back to it? There seems to be a lot of lack of creativity in the movie business now, and I just have a couple of examples of remakes. In Open Your Eyes, which is a good Spanish movie, it was made in '98, and Vanilla Sky, which is the exact same movie, remade Open Your Eyes not even 3 years later, starring Tom Cruise, and they actually cast Penelope Cruz in the exact same role as she was in the first one, which really makes you wonder, why did they even do a remake at all if it's just going to be the exact same movie, except in English and with Tom Cruise in the lead role. And speaking of remakes, here's a bunch of really unnecessary remakes that you might not have realized are coming out. Battle Royale, the awesome Japanese movie, is getting a North American remake. Yeah. Also Akira, the anime movie, that's also being remade. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is the executive producer for that, so we're just going to see how horrible that's going to be. Also some things that other remakes: Evil Dead, Logan's Run, Tron, The Birds, The Warriors, Escape from New York. I wonder if Kurt Russell's going to be that in again. Uh, Footloose, Dune, The Thing. These are all remakes that have been announced they'll be coming out in the next few years. Yeah, most of these are classics. If not, they have a cult following, and it's just, you might as well just ruin a good classic and just try to leech some more money out of it. That's how things go in Hollywood, it seems. Also, they take good movies like, say, Japanese horror, so J-horror, also Korean horror movies like K-horror. They take those and they go and make them into North American horror movies, and it seems like there hasn't been a North American movie in the horror movie in the past couple of years that isn't stolen from a Japanese one. You have The Ring, you have The Grudge, and you have a whole bunch of others. One Missed Call, I'm not really remembering off the top of my head, but if you look up J-horror, you'll see there's like there's a North American version for every movie that's come out and has been successful in the Japanese horror way. Also, sequels, since, you know, also in the lack of creativity part, a lot of sequels coming out. Since one thing happened to be successful, let's try to, squeeze the blood out of that rock some more. And in the case if a sequel actually does also turn out to be good, as well as the first movie, they tried to make it a trilogy, and then they just ruined the whole thing. Case in point, Blade, Spider-Man, X-Men. The first two are good, and the third one kind of ruins everything else. I'm still waiting for the next X-Men movie to come out, the third one, because as far as I'm concerned, The Last Stand never happened because that was horrible. You had Bryan Singer directing the first two, you had David Hayter writing the bulk of the first two, and then the third one you're like, well, we've already established that this franchise is going to be successful, so we don't need good people to do anything. Let's just bring in an ass load of crap and they'll go watch it anyway. So they did that. And now everything in theaters seems to be either a remake or a sequel or a prequel. We'll leave book adaptations, because if you take away book adaptations, there really is nothing that is actually written straight for the screen. Like, there have been good successful ones like Juno last year, you know, so it can be done. People just don't really want to do that, so yeah. Oh, and here's some god-awful sequels that will be coming out in the next couple of years. Sylvester Stallone going through his midlife crisis. You already had the Rocky sequel after since 5,000 years ago, since the last Rocky movie. You had the new Rambo. It seems that Rambo is also going to be having another sequel sometime in the next couple of years, which is really sad. And people would joke around, oh, Sylvester Stallone, you know, midlife crisis, thinking he still got it. Why don't you do a sequel to Cliffhanger? And lo and behold, they've actually announced Cliffhanger 2. Yeah, so, you know, you make jokes and you're like, oh, worst case scenario, and then it actually happens. Hopefully John Lithgow comes back as the villain, because John Lithgow kicks ass. That's the only redeeming quality about Cliffhanger, really. And some other sequels that are gonna suck ass: Spawn 2, Stigmata 2, Final Destination 4, Saw 10,093, Fast and Furious 4, Scorpion King 2, Blood Rain 3, Baby Geniuses 3. If the first one really sucked, why would you make another one? Let alone make it into a trilogy of shit. Anyway, Underworld 3, Street Fighter 2, Jumper 2, Into the Blue 2, so you get to see more Jessica Alba in a bikini. Little Fockers, which is like, you know, meet the Fockers, meet the parents, etc. So yeah, that's good for the lack of creativity. Also, to give a brief comment on an SXE Phil video talking about how video game adaptation movies really suck ass. Well, that's really because most of the time they're made by Uwe Boll, or whatever the hell his name is. He made like Blood Rain, Postal, Alone in the Dark, House of the Dead, and soon to be Far Cry, Zombie Massacre, and those are gonna suck too, because you know that's just the kind of thing he does. So that's why video game adaptations have a bad name to them. You can make a Metal Gear Solid movie, which would really kick ass, because Hideo Kojima already makes, like, you know, they're kind of cinematic. David Hayter is the screenwriter for X-Men and X-Men 2, and he also does the voice for Snake, so he could do that, and, you know, he could, you know, maybe make it good. I don't know. Anywho, and I think that's all I wanted to say. Also, one last thing I wanted to mention. Since there seems to be no creativity in movies anymore, everything's a sequel, remake, as I've mentioned, I wonder what it would be like if someone started remaking YouTube videos. Since the movie industry likes to do that so much, I'm going to remake a classic YouTube video, and I'll release that, I'll upload it on, say, June 1st. So yeah, just to give a good example of remakes just satirizing all of the movie industry, I'll start this whole new wave of remaking YouTube videos. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. See how it goes. It's gonna suck, but then again, maybe this will show someone else how much movie remakes suck, since there's not a single remake that's coming to my mind right now that is actually good, or, well, better than the original. Someone can leave a comment saying, giving me an example. I'm sure there's some. I hope there's some, but that's all I got to say there. So June 1st, I'll upload a YouTube remake. Okay, see you guys later.